Hello, Year 10, Mr. Hughes here. We're on to the next topic that we're now doing. It's business location. Forgot myself. Hey, how are you? Hope you're well. We're in week 6, lockdown. It's like a summer holiday's gone. When you think of it like that, it's a bit mad, isn't it? But hey ho, we're moving forward, and I don't think it'll be long now until we're back in school and a bit of normality, if that's what you want, of course. But yeah, we're getting there, and I can't see it prolonging any further. Boris Johnson is talking about a roadmap, so we'll see. Anyway, down to business location. That's our top. Good morning, Year 10, Mr. Hughes here. We're on to our weekly dose of business studies. We're now up to business location. We're progressing nicely, and we're getting on the front foot ready for when we come back. Hey, it's week 6 of lockdown. It's like a whole summer holidays indoors. When you think about it like that, it's quite crazy, isn't it? Okay, a bit of normality then. Business location. So what we're going to be covering today is just you should be able to explain the factors around business location. Clever ones amongst you will be able to maybe look at the pros and cons of a business location, and you'll have a chance to exercise that with your homework, but I'll talk about that later on. This week is we're looking at the different factors that affect business location, and you'll have a chance to give the pros and cons of a business location for a certain business in your homework, but I'll go through that later on. Quick starter then, you can pause the vid if you like, but which product would you associate with these locations? So in Scotland, Devon, Belgium and Turkey. So there's various answers here. But Scotland, you'd be sort of thinking about shortbread biscuits, possibly. You'd be talking about some of the Scottish jumpers that you can buy. Marmalade and jam, actually, are associated with Scotland. Haggis, lots of food groups, eh? Devon, oh, I'm thinking cream tea. Maybe it's just because I'm hungry. Belgium, chocolate. Turkey, oh, I'm not sure about that one. I think I'd associate things like holidays and so on. Maybe a kebab. Oh, yeah, a kebab. So you can see the locations play a big part in the identity of a business. But let's look at it in a bit more detail. So, Brettonside, as it was known, used to be where the old bus station was, and they converted that into the barcode. So whilst I'm loading up the maps for barcode, I want you to start thinking about why do you think they put the barcode there? Okay, why in that location? They had loads of new locations around Plymouth and Devon that they could have chosen, but why did they put it there? So have a little think on what do you think was the most or the biggest factor when they decided to put it there. So there's the location. If we just zoom in a little bit. So if we go a little, there we go. So there's the barcode there. Why do you think they put that there? What was their reasoning for putting the barcode there? Well, if we look at it, first of all, if I just use my little pointer, so there's the barcode there. Straight away we've got Drake Circus across the road. It's all temporary closed at the moment, as you can see. So you're going to get a lot of footfall from people going into the barcode for some food or some bit of golf or all the other activities, the cinema that they've got there. Also in the city centre there is no other cinema, so there's not a lot of competition. There used to be a cinema down this part of town towards this way, but that's now closed down. So in terms of competition, then they've reduced it. Lots of people in the city centre, lots of workers possibly. You know, we've got hotels here, we've got shops, meeting for lunch. So again, you've got that footfall. You've also got road access here. You've got a major A road which is on the bus route, and you've got a bus stop there. So we call that infrastructure. So they're able to have a lot of visitors who could get there from out of town on the bus. And have we got any parking nearby? Yeah, you've got parking up here, which is up in Drake's Circus. If we just zoom out a little bit, if I can do that, then if you're thinking about a business and what it needs, we know that the barcode is close to customers, we know it's close to the infrastructure, we've also got the railway line, the railway station up the road. But if we keep zooming out, then what we've got is a lot of workers, because we've got a student population in Mutley that are looking for work, and they can then access Drake Circus and the barcode, walking distance from the university, and they've got a workforce. So let's just think about some of those issues. Hopefully you had them. They're close to their customers, they're close to workers. There's a lot of footfall, they're close to their market, they're close to road links, they're in a busy area. So those factors straight away become immediate to us, and we can see why they would locate the barcode there. Also, it was a brownfield site. What I mean by a brownfield site is that the land was cheap. It was an old bus station that nobody was using, and it was a bit of an eyesore. So there was a cheap land to it. I hope a lot of that made sense. Let's go into some of those things in a bit more detail. We've already mentioned the cost of premises. GT Motorcycles, a local business of ours, that set up in an old quarry. It was old derelict ground. It was cheap premises. In town tends to be more expensive. Out of town tends to be cheaper. So that's another issue to do. Some businesses get grants. Wrigley's, for instance, they were based in London, but they came down to Devon because they got a grant and they could set up their tax-free, and the Plymouth Council aided them. So that's why they came along to Plymouth. So they got a grant. Another reason would be close to your market. We talked about barcode being close to, it's in the city, you've got rail, bus links. And also, if you think about the proximity to the market, you'd be looking at maybe fresh food. If you're doing frozen fish fingers, you want to be close to the harbour, and you want to be close to road links so you can deliver your goods before they defrost. Another issue that you need to think about is competitors. So we looked at the barcode. The cinema recently closed down in town. There is a competitor like the View Cinema, and they've upped their game now. So competition, you can see, is good for consumers. But in terms of an in-town cinema, there isn't one there. Some businesses actually like to go where their competitors are because the area becomes synonymous with that particular business. So if we go to Marsh Mills, you can see there's a lot of furniture shops there. You've got DFS, Furniture Village next. You've got DIY shops. They're all, customers know that they can go to that area and they'll get what they want. So sometimes it's good to go where your competitors are. Not always, but sometimes. Then we talked about workforce. So you've got to set up where you've got a workforce. So if you think about the major car industries, they've all set up in the northeast, Sunderland, where there was a lot of people out of work. And we can see on the map 9.4% of people out of work, which is why they possibly set up Nissan and Vauxhall up in the northeast of London, because they knew they would get their work. Proximity to materials. Yeah, so if we look at some businesses that need essential materials, then they'll need to set up where they've got the infrastructure where they can access those raw materials, and then you don't have the transportation costs. If you're looking at retail, if we look at the high street, then the high street is a dying trade at the moment. But if you look at the barcode, they've come up with, not in terms of selling products, but they've set up there so they can create an experience where it's miniature golf or the cinema or dining out. So in terms of retail, then they set up where the customers will be, where the shoppers will be, where the workers will be, and where they'll get good footfall. Then we look at services. Services need to set up where their businesses are. So gardeners will set up in a suburb. They'll go where the labour is, so they'll have a workforce. If they're cleaners, they'll set up in the offices and the business. Manufacturing, we've talked about this earlier on. If you're making cars, then you've got to be able to ship them. So close to harbours, close to airports, close to roads, you need the infrastructure. Infrastructure are things like motorways, rail links, so on. Right, quickly on to the homework then. I just wanted to recap on the analyse question. You're going to analyse the best location. So when we're looking at structuring an analyse paragraph, then straight away what we need is an AO1. Okay, so AO1, I'm going to use the highlighter for this actually, a black highlighter, we'll go the smallest one. So AO1, you need to show your knowledge and understanding. So you answer the question, which is the best location? So state the best location and why. And then we need some context. Those are quotation marks. We need some application. If the business is a coffee shop, what are they going to need? What are they going to be selling? Who are their customers? Make sure the answer reads like a business for like a coffee shop or a tea shop, not a general business like Tesco's. It has to be significant, otherwise you can't get the mark. And then finally, what we're looking for AO3 is an impact chain. So the impact from setting up in location wherever is that they will then get more customers, or they'll have better infrastructure, which means they can deliver. They'll get deliveries easily. If they get deliveries easy, they'll cut down on their costs, which means their costs are cheaper, which means the products can be cheaper and more appealing for customers, which means they will get more sales, which then leads to profit. You'll notice that there is a chain, okay, and we should have 3 or 4 chains in your impact chain. Okay, always nice to speak to you. That finishes off this week's installment. Keep up your good work, and I can't see it being long now before we're back to some normality. Pleasure working with you. Have a good week.